for December 9th. Secretary, please record the roll. There are no minutes to approve. We haven't met for quite some time. For our regular meeting today, we have to consider a variance request to remove an existing Board of Adjustment condition not to allow an additional accessory structure on an R1 zone lot located at 1475. And could we go through what that was, what the reason that we
I wasn't there then, but I think that you mean that we made?
yeah, I look back in my minutes, and I must have missed this when we made this motion from the board to allow no more structures on this lot.
Yeah. I just believe because it was over the square footage of the 1,200 that's allowed. So that was just a condition. I'm not sure why, to be honest with you.
The square footage of the structure and the garages?
No, yeah, the garages.
The garages.
Mainly, yeah. Because the detached is only just 1,200. And I think you wanted how much, Jerry?
For the addition?
The old,
No.
Old
The
one.
old one, we were like 140.
Why don't you come up and state your name and for the records, Terry?
Sure. Terry Keithley. I'm the owner, my wife and I, at 1475 Atascocita, which, how hard is it to change a name? Atascocita. I'd love to do that someday. But anyways, I'll put these on. But the original variance was because we were 149 square foot over, and that was taken into account the 1,950 square foot because of our lot size. Our lot size is 2.84 acres. And so they got that in there so we could actually build a larger garage. And what we're doing right is we had a Four Seasons room, 1,035 square feet, that was not, even the builder didn't think we were going to use it as part of the house, but we did put 4-foot foundation, we did put heated floors, fireplace, TVs, everything, with garage doors that go up and down. What we did is I put additional glass on for Four Seasons to keep the cold out better than the regular garage door. But anyways, it is part of our house. We use it Four Seasons. We have our Christmas tree set up. That's what we celebrate Christmas, so it's part of the house. So we basically added 1,035, I believe, square feet of living space. With what we're doing, the past, like your first question, we were 149 square feet over, and we got the variance. And so now we're trying to add a detached garage, 780 square feet. We should be under all of the square footage with what we're doing by adding the Four Seasons.
Okay, so the reason this Board of Adjustment, this board denied or made this statement not to let you allow any more was just because of the overage at that time.
Is that?
At that time.
It was basically that standard, it's our standard statement. When someone wants to build an excess garage, we add on that if they do that we'll accept that as long as there's no additional outbuildings unattached.
Well, you don't have any outbuildings, though.
Right,
And yet,
No.
right. But that's why it was on there. It was just a
Okay.
standard thing that we add when someone requests that. So, hey, Terry, what's the size of your garage? I know it was 100 and something over, but what is the size now? Do you know?
I have it here. One on the house is actually less than the blueprint said, so it's 1,000. The one on the house is 1,103 square feet. And then we have a breezeway and a large, like, car garage, museum garage. And that's where we needed the variance.
Okay, and so then how big is that garage?
4,408.
4,408?
Yes.
So you have a total of 5,500 square feet, basically.
Very close.
Yeah, and then so how big how big was your house before you added that breezeway occupancy, or however you could?
This is where I'm goofed up, because the basement says 4,346 feet, and then the upstairs is smaller, but it's not possible. Or, I guess, so, to use the basement square footage, which would be 4,346.
I would think that that'd be your total, like, you top and bottom.
Top and bottom.
I believe so.
Okay. And so, and then you added another, so now you're probably at 5,300 square feet of house, of living space.
Yeah, even 54.
Okay.
And then the Four Seasons room adds 1,035.
Well, I was adding that in, yeah, yeah. So by adding that square feet onto your house, the house to garage ratio changes.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Questions? Sean, Pat?
Well, I got maybe just a point of clarification, because accessory structure with the breezeway, is that still considered accessory, or is that considered part of the structures,
You know,
the garage with the house?
we look at it as the garage of the house, but I don't think we're looking at it that way, right?
I think at the beginning, they did count it.
Yeah, because we usually do.
Yeah. And I was talking to Tom Quince, I believe they did.
So we're.
But if that went with the house, then that square footage is based off of the square footage of the home, right? It can't exceed the square footage of the house?
Right.
So he doesn't have an accessory structure at this point?
No, not really. Because it is considered.
No, that's why we tied it all together with the breezeway.
So we
Which
need-
means now you could go 1,200 on an accessory as long as that garage, and we removed our, is that kind of what I'm hearing? Because
Yeah.
that's all part of one structure. The accessory would be a separate structure,
Yep.
and that you can go up to 1,200 square feet.
Yep.
Or based on your lot size,
Yeah.
additional,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
And because his lot is more than an acre, it's another 250 per half acre or something like that?
Yep.
2.5 acres, is it?
Just shy of 3.
This time, shy, okay. Okay.
So when they gave that, variance, it was for the house itself. Like, they were saying, okay, you can only have 2,000 square foot of garage according to the house, so then they let you have more with the house. Is that what it was for?
I believe so, I mean,
Okay.
because I know I had to,
Has
like,
be, yeah.
Well, that's what it sounds like to me, is you got, say, just round numbers, I don't know the numbers, a 4,500 square foot home, and you went 4,800 on your garage, which means you needed, 3,500 or 350 additional feet to that, right? So that's what the variance was, if I'm
Well, it would
following
actually
this.
be more than that, because you can only take looking down at it, that square foot of the house would be 2,000 plus, then we gave them a variance for probably 3,000 or whatever. Or maybe,
well, they added in that 1950
okay,
because of the acreage.
gotcha, okay,
And after that, we were still shy of 149.
okay.
So really, the variance is for 149 square foot of garage, but not accessory structure.
Correct.
Is there a problem in reversing our decisions? Are we creating
Well,
something here that,
well, he actually, but the only reason since we put that in every one of them, I guess, we look that up. But since he took part of that, what was it, garage, right? Your pre-season kind of was. You had
Yeah,
garage,
it has garage.
And we added that part of it? as
Yes.
part of it. Now he took that 1,000 square foot out, it's
I-
like,
I just don't want to start setting a precedence that, hey, people are going to come in and say, hey, we have 2.5 acres, but we already have another structure on our lot, but we have enough square footage on the lot. Set a precedence to do these things, to reverse ourselves? I don't know. Was that part of the letter that was sent in? There was a letter that was sent in, right?
you know, I've just been briefed on this.
What, as far as to us,
Yeah, as far as,
letter to us, is that what you're asking?
yeah, why would we reverse our decision? You know, that was a big question. As far as the letter was concerned?
Okay.
You mean from one of the,
One of the neighbors' questions,
I
right?
thought, did you give me that? Yeah. I think from what I talked to Leonard about, was that they were just concerned that they positioned the garage where it's not, the lights aren't shining on their house when
Yeah.
they're pulling out, right?
Yeah, I called Tom Willer last night. The letter that you're talking about, is that the Tom Willer letter? Yeah, an email. And I called Tom last night to find out, because I knew he's down in Mesa. And I just wanted to find out what his concerns were. And he had two concerns. One was he didn't want the property to look commercial. He wanted to make sure it had a residential look and feel about it. And his concern was that if you keep adding buildings facing, side by side, facing the same direction, that kind of gives it a more commercial look. And
Yeah, he didn't want a huge garage, I guess, though.
yeah, and that's what he meant by
Cars
that.
coming in and out and shining into his room, and I
Right.
don't think he wanted it in that corner.
And I'm aware of that now.
You are.
And even before Tom took off, he helped me stake out the garage, the size, the direction. I mean, he was very, Terry, you should really do it like this. And I didn't know he was telling me or wanting it done like that just so that the headlights don't shine towards his house. But now I understand, but we staked out exactly the way he wanted it, and I would
Okay.
put it exactly in the same spot that he had intended it to be. When his suggestions to me.
So Terry, you've got a circle here. I'm assuming that's where you're planning to put the building?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be closer to the corner?
It's-
It isn't really clear on here, the size of it, looking
It's
at.
actually 30 feet from Tom's house and 18 feet from the north border. And yes, it's parallel with the property line, so there'll be no garage doors facing his
Okay,
house at all.
okay.
The total size, it was 30 by 780 square feet.
Okay.
And the purpose of the garage is basically because the lot is a lot bigger and more work than I expected. I have a lot of lawn mowing equipment, snow removal stuff, and I just don't want to have all that stuff in with my classic cars, et cetera. So that's what this garage shed is for. In fact, I did have a container delivered to the house, so now I have a container on the north side of the house. I'm sure Tom won't be happy with that, but it'll go once the garage is built.
Okay.
And the garage, Terry, that you expect to build now is 700 and some 800 square feet?
Yep, just shy of
Okay.
800 square feet.
Okay.
It'll
Any other
obviously
questions?
match the house and same siding and.
Right, we
so
have
forth.
covenants too, so it
That's
has to
gonna
be
make
the-
sure.
And
And-
everything in the house, or, I do things tasteful, right?
Yeah.
It's nice.
So basically, it's gonna be facing straight south there. You'll come in to it off of your driveway on the east side of your house, straight up to
Yes.
the garages. You'll tie that concrete in, I'm
The
assuming, up
concrete
to
will
it.
get tied in, and there'll be one garage door facing west, because that's where the lawn equipment will go in and out.
Oh, so that's away from Tom's
Away from
place,
town,
so.
yes.
You won't even have a garage? You'll have one to the south and to the west then?
A
Is that-
small one to the south and a small one to the west.
Okay, I gotcha.
Other questions or comments for Terry? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve this variance based on the fact that that the Keithleys have added enough living space to offset the request for additional garage space,
I'll second.
and
Oh,
that
sorry.
they have no additional structures on the property.
No more, okay. Is that a second, is that okay with your second?
If he's done, I'll second that one as well.
If he's done, I'll second that. Okay, very good. Any further discussion? If not, Bruce,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Trevor isn't here, and I'll vote aye. I know everything looks great up there, and Terry, and so I'm sure there won't be any problems. I hope not anyhow.
There shouldn't be. If there are, somebody just gotta talk to me and we'll straighten it out.
Okay, very good.
I assume you and Tom will be in communications, but if he has issues, right?
Right.
Because he's the only question that, and he wasn't even negative necessarily, just some.
Yeah,
You
no,
don't-
Tom's fine with it.
Yeah.
On the cul-de-sac like that, and,
And that's good. You know, I thought, the way I took his letter, he was just wanting to have an answer of why we would change our decision. You know, that's why we'd change. And I think he'll understand and everything will be fine. I hope, you know. Okay, very good. Okay, Terry.
maybe we shouldn't put that on in there anymore, just because if you need to come in for more, if you needed to come in for another one anyways, you'd have to do a variance anyway. So if you have too much in the building already, they would have to come in for a variance. So why did you put, like, that you can't build on it anymore? Because it's still gonna have to come in front of you guys anyway, so that way they won't.
Okay.
I think it's on there because Leonard suggested that we put that on there, just so there's no misunderstanding. So it's crystal clear when someone requests that, you know, well, in this case, it's a pretty big lot, you know, bigger than what we're usually dealing with. But if I remember right, I think he's the one that made that suggestion. So it was crystal clear to,
Well, there are
Yeah,
structures that they wouldn't have to get a permit for, correct? That would be included.
Yeah, you can only have, you mean,
Like if it's 120 square feet or something shed, they don't have to come in, and this is saying you can't even do that by putting that on there, right?
yeah.
Right.
Which, that's kind of tough to do, so let's say that Terry decides to put a 120 square foot, because I'm sure he would do something like that. But how can we can't police that, I mean, because you're allowed to do that, I mean, but you're only supposed to have 3 detached structures, no more than that. It's tough to police when they don't have to come in for a permit, you know, but.
Neighbors help.
Yeah, they do, you're right.
well, I remember we've had cases where a property owner had 4 or 5 of these little sheds, and then they came in asking for an oversized garage, and it's like, you've got to kind of
That's the first thing we
limit
ask.
that, yeah.
That's the first thing we ask, if we have any other stuff,
Yeah.
You know, I thank you, and I hope I don't want to open a can of worms for other people that might have issues with storage, but you might want to look at the container issue in the city. There seems to be an awful lot of containers storing stuff.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
all over. People don't pay tax on that square footage. They go- You know what I'm saying? It's just, there are some junky ones sitting around too. I went around and I started taking pictures and I was just, it's not good. Something to look into.
Okay, thanks, Terry.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else, any other business? None at this time. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I would make a motion
Pat?
to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
That's more than a 5-minute meeting, Sylvia.